a couple of Malcolm Gladwell quotes on what he says is required for leaders to guide us through the kind of complex times we're in, where you have this great change that takes decades. And he has a couple of quotes that I will admit I love. He says, "Success is a function of persistence and doggedness and the willingness to work hard for 30 minutes to make sense of something that most people would give up on after 30 seconds. And he also says, practice isn't the thing you do when you're good, it's the thing you do that makes you good. So I couldn't think of two quotes that are a better introduction to our 2018 Steve Connors Visionary Award winner, Kathy Morrissey. So Kathy, come on up. I'm going to say two introductions and then turn it over. We do have a plaque for you. But just to give a proper introduction, and then we'll get a great photograph. So Malcolm Gladwell said the rule for greatness was 10,000 hours. I don't want to total up Kathy Morrissey's hours, but she's put 37 years of dedicated service to large fleets at Ford. Many of those years she was one of the top salespeople, but what I think makes Kathy incredible is she viewed her job as meeting customer needs, not as a salesperson. And she became a leader at NAFA, helping fleets define solutions. And in addition, she has just really played a huge role in our growth, supporting us, I think, for every single year through the good and bad times. When my husband died, she took me out to lunch to make sure I was still living. You don't get that kind of support from many people, and I think it's a real tribute to Kathy that not only did she get twice as many votes as the next winner, but people not only voted, they wrote in these incredible quotes of support, and I hope that each person in the room gets these kind of quotes of support in their future. So thank you, Kathy.
Well, this was a wonderful surprise, frankly, and I wanted to thank, I'm very grateful, and I'm also humbled by this award from the Altwheels team. I really appreciate it, and of course we're all part of that team, and that's the nice thing about Altwheels. Over the years, I think it makes us feel that way. So that's a credit to the founders and to all the active members that put so much work into this every year. So anyway, I'd like to accept this award in the name of Ford Motor Company and our dealers, and also the forward-thinking New England partners that are here in the room today and are scattered throughout New England. And that would include clients, upfitters, and industry experts. You know, without everybody working together, some of the gains we've made that Allison so nicely outlined would not have been achieved. So I think everybody here should take a hand for themselves, please. Allison asked me to say a few words, and as many of you know, I've been retired for just about a year now. And unfortunately, much of my data is gone, okay? So as far as exact projects that we worked on. But I'm going to put together just a couple comments over the years on items that I've worked on with various partners, and we'll go from there, okay? So we've evolved, as Allison said, from a pure alternative fuel model to one of total sustainability. And as you go around and you work with your partners in New England, you realize that companies now have sustainability on their websites. The clients are talking about it on a day-to-day basis. And it's not just about the vehicle end of things, though that is what we'll discuss today, and that's what I'll be talking about. But, you know, we're talking about LEED certified buildings. We're talking about corporate governance. In some instances, we're talking about safety. And even when it comes, autonomy will affect sustainability because of the operation of the vehicle and how it basically takes over from the driver. But that's in the future. So what I wanted to do is just start off remembering, I don't want to go too much into this because Allison did, you know, at the beginning at Lars Anderson, you know, how there were just a few of us on the lawn, and folks in the room like Bob Natkin, some other folks that we used to work with back then, and Bob's still here, brought in vehicles from different manufacturers and different converters. And as Lars Anderson grew, and Allison didn't say this, we got too big for Lars Anderson. So we moved on, and many of you might remember, Mike Payette at Staples hosted us for several years and did a marvelous job. You'd see Mike out there with his wife at 5 in the morning setting up for Altwheels. It was amazing. So anyway, we eventually found a home here after spending 1 year at Boston City Hall Plaza, which was very difficult due to security issues. But anyway, we found a home here, and this is where we've evolved to. Anyway, sustainability is something that near the end of my career with Ford, I would talk about with nearly every time that I met with a partner. So some of the examples, and some of this is in the write-up that was in the bio that you may have seen in the Altwheels brochure today. But one of the things that we did is I was able to partner with a large multinational van company of about 4,000 units, vans, and they moved from a full-size van model to a Transit Connect model, and the Transit Connect is a compact van. And through engine technology, lightweighting, and increased aerodynamics, we were able to move from 378 grams per unit per mile to 609 grams per unit. We were able to move from 609 grams per unit per mile to 378 grams per unit per mile, which was a huge savings for this customer. However, more than that, we assisted the customer in training the folks that were getting these smaller vans in how to pack the van, items perhaps to take out of the van that didn't belong in the van. There were instances of drivers actually having file cabinets in the van with records of fixing vehicles going back 20 years, because the file cabinet had always been in the van. So, they started accessing online services and such. So that was a way that the switchover was made, and it was done in a way that they weren't parking the vans and refusing to drive them. So that's another important item. If you're switching to another different kind of vehicle, especially if it's smaller, first you have to look if it's going to meet the needs of your drivers, and then secondly, and maybe more importantly, that they're going to adopt it and be able to use it, because it doesn't really help, like I said, if they're parking them. So another really important item that we did was we partnered with a lot of the Boston biomedical companies to transition from 6-cylinder to 4-cylinder EcoBoost engines in the cars and the SUVs. And I could list off a lot of folks that did this, and really it's not fair to mention one in particular, but I'm going to. He's not here today, but Kevin O'Loughlin from Synovian was one of the first folks to actually take the bull by the horns and do this with various vehicles from Ford. So, and they're also Biogen did a lot with us, and Takeda, and I could go on, but it was just really amazing. Another item we used was the Ford Sync system, and assisting folks in adopting the Sync system, which there are parts of the Sync system that, which is a communication system that works with your cell phone or with your Android. There are parts of the Sync system that get you from point A to point B in a more efficient manner, which of course eventually results in a carbon savings, and which is good for the global footprint. So we worked with that as well. In addition, safety packages. And you say, well, why safety? Why is safety important for sustainability? Well, safety is important because a lot of the new safety items are sort of semi-autonomous items, like forward collision alert, even backing up. It stops the herking and jerking and makes the driver many times be more efficient and maybe more mindful when they're driving. So anyway, these were just a couple of the projects that we worked on. And like I said at the beginning, none of it would have been possible without the input from everybody here, organizations like Altwheels, and of course the folks we worked with and the upfitters and that helped create all this. So I want to say that working with everybody in New England was a great joy, and I'm thrilled to be here today, and I'm very honored, and I feel that everybody in the room deserves this award, and I hope everybody has a great day here, okay?